Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
All right, cats, we have a big treat today. We have a celebrity mystical cat, Joanna Garzilli. Joanna, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here as well.
So you're a celebrity psychic. You're the author of an amazing book about miracles, or actually it's big miracles. So where do we even want to start? So when were you first a psychic? When did you first realize that you were psychic?
Well, I would say 6 years old is my first, what I would say, conscious psychic experience. And I didn't understand that that was intuition. Mm-hmm. I remember when I would be going to sleep at night, I would be so scared to have the lights off, to have the door closed, because I would feel energy in such an intense way. And I didn't understand till later on, as I started to develop, eventually as I developed those skills, that I was having strong clairvoyance, right? Seeing things with and let me just make a distinction there. When I say seeing things, it doesn't necessarily mean an angel in Technicolor. It is right. Having a knowing seeing. And I had very strong clairsentience, which a lot of people would experience as empathy, which I think a lot of your audience has naturally. And then once one knows, oh, there's not something wrong with me, I'm just highly intuitive, and here's how I can use this in a positive way to help other people, I think that's when life gets easier. Doesn't mean it gets easy, but it gets easier.
Absolutely. I think that intuition, I've always been very intuitive and psychic my life too. And then all of a sudden, it starts to suddenly make sense. But when it doesn't make sense, it can be pretty frightening.
Very, very much so. And I think also that trying to fit in, find one's place. I think that because of having, I can say from my own experience, from having strong empathy, from feeling a lot that I felt like I didn't fit in with anyone in particular. But what I learned to do was to use my empathy to be able to connect with people, to have a sense of seeing the world and feeling through their eyes, through their experience. And that allowed me then to have really good relationships. And when I was younger, that led to me being very much on the London socialite scene and having lots of fun and good stuff like that.
So you've done a lot of psychic readings for different celebrities. And I'm really curious, how did you get into that whole arena?
So I would say it was accidental, because initially I was trying to figure a lot of things out for myself. Mm-hmm. So I would go and see all these psychics in London, trying to get guidance on what I should do with my love life. That was my main focus back then, until thankfully now that is not an issue. But back then it was really hard. So I didn't trust my own intuition. I guess I was attracted to people who were not healthy for me. So I ignored what I was feeling, and then I go to the psychic to try and get an answer. And what would happen is I ended up helping them and giving them answers, and then I would come away going, well, why did I pay for that reading? And this person couldn't help me. But I feel it was spirit nudging me, saying, this is something that you're meant to step into. And then I began going and doing psychic development classes at this, a couple of people they were doing in Chiswick in West London. I took one of my clubbing friends with me, and then I went off around the world and connected with different shamans and healers and people from indigenous cultures who were already using their intuition. And I saw it really doesn't matter what part of the world someone's from, what their spiritual beliefs are. It pretty much, it's the same everywhere. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what would you say to other cats who maybe they're attracted to psychics, or they have a sense about their intuition, but they're not quite sure how to trust it and start using it?
I would say the first thing is it's a muscle. And when I say it's a muscle, our clairvoyance is our seeing muscle, our clairaudience is our hearing, clairsentience feeling, claircognizance knowing. And for each person, one sense is going to be stronger than the other. And I think the key is just to practice. Again, we always know the answers. A lot of the time, some of those answers can be painful because we have to face some type of obstacle or something from the unevolved ego that will help us break through to better trust our intuition and to follow that guidance. So I would say just initially, just practice tuning in for oneself, sitting down and writing and just asking a question on paper. And maybe that answer doesn't come right away, but 24 hours later, it may do. Normally, I don't know for you, but I know for myself, the answers come when I'm not trying to push, that I'm in more of a relaxed state, and that I'm not attached to an outcome, because I've learned when I get attached to an outcome, that I don't necessarily know what that bigger picture is, that, again, spirit or my higher self is trying to guide me into a better experience.
Yeah, it's almost like you set forth the question, and then you also in the same moment have to release it. So it's like, okay, I want to know about this, but actually I don't care what the answer is. And then like a couple hours later, then it comes in. But if you're like, I want to know and tell me, then it doesn't come in as clear.
It doesn't. And again, one of the biggest lessons for me has been when my ego wants something, and again, so much other people would refer to it as the shadow self, but that attachment to it has to be this way. I mean, that's definitely something, even after all these years of having done thousands of readings, of having had a lot of success, I still find that I am learning new things about the part of myself, that shadow part of myself, that is attached to outcomes, and really having to practice selflessness and a next level of service to people in the world.
What a powerful reminder. So in your book, Big Miracles, what are some of these laws of success?
Well, one of them we just touched upon briefly, which is about being of service. And I think it's really important. That's rule 10. And I think sometimes people think, oh yeah, I want to be of service, I want to help other people. But are they wanting to help someone else to be able to help themselves? Can you really just say, I'm going to put that other person's needs first? Now that's different, say, from when sometimes we need to do self-care, we need to recharge ourselves to be of service to others, really being able to make that distinction. Another rule that I feel is extremely important, it's rule 1, align with spirit. And everything really starts there. And that's what I like to do on a daily basis, is check in and go, am I aligned? How does one know one is aligned? And one's in the most simplest form is if you feel good or if you feel bad. And that next step from that is, if something doesn't feel good, is it because of something, a blockage within oneself? Or when one feels a frustration towards someone else, it doesn't necessarily mean it's something that that person's doing.
That makes a lot of sense. So what's next for you?
Gosh, so there's a lot of things that I am doing, I'm working on at the moment. I mean, I've just continued to I work with, really now I just work with a boutique clientele, you could say, and some of those clients I've worked with for 15 years doing private readings. I actually have, talking about being of service, there's some things where I go in front of the camera. I was doing a lot of stuff in crypto prior. I had a crazy experience of crypto where I'd done really well and then had it all stolen with my account hacked. And that's a whole story for another time. And actually, I work with 2 financial institutions. I love your cat. Gorgeous.
I know he wanted to join. It's part of the theme.
So that's fantastic. Meow. Actually, I had a dream 2 nights ago. The night before last, I dreamt that I was at this place and there was 35 cats outside. And then I was holding this little baby cat, this little kitten. And here we go. Here I think it's the connection,
your
right?
prophetic dream. It is your future.
Community, right? To me, it
Right.
says, look, I said to my husband, what does this mean? But I think it's about community and
I think so
connection
too.
and nurturing new ideas. So I suppose to answer your question in terms of, for me, I have gone through where I was very, very spiritual and esoteric. Then I thought, well, money doesn't matter at all. And so I had at that point lost all my money and came full circle. Now I do investing. I work at a financial institution. That financial institution does not give investment advice, but I have learned to marry the spiritual and the business and the financial to be able to, it's not just mind, body, spirit, but all realms of living successfully in the world while maintaining a connection to spirit and not being greedy, but also not being focused on being so altruistic that one is in poverty, because I see a lot of healers and intuitives and psychics struggle with that.
Oh, absolutely. Joanna, I feel like you and I could talk for a very long time, but I appreciate you coming on the Big Meow. How can we find you?
Best way to connect via social media. My handle is @Joanna Garzilli, and my website is joannagarzilli.com.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Okay.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C.A.T.S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.